This is probably one of the most controversial or contentious questions in geopolitics. Contentious meaning it causes arguments, it's very polarizing in opinion. So let's break it down. First, the facts. Israel has never officially admitted to having nuclear weapons, but everyone knows they have them. Experts estimate they have between 80 and 400 nukes right now, more than enough, of course, to wipe out a whole nation. Though apparently that's okay for them to possess as long as they don't publicly say, we're going to wipe out your nation. Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons yet, but it is true they're enriching uranium to levels that could make weapons more attainable. For civilian use, you only need to enrich uranium to about 4%, but Iran publicly is known to have enriched uranium to at least 60%, far higher, and weapons grade uranium needs 90% enrichment. But till now, Iran remains a signatory of the NPT, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which is a promise basically by the state that basically says we won't develop nukes, right? So why is one allowed the ultimate weapon and the other not? Here's the thing. Neither country are actually allowed under international law. International law, as one of you guys put it very well, is for poor countries though. For the rich and the powerful, breaking them is super easy, barely an inconvenience. Where have I heard that before? Now, you know that treaty that Iran signed promising not to develop nukes, the NPT? Israel never even signed the treaty. Now, here's some history. Israel got its nukes back when the world was bipolar, not sort of like a goth girl type thing. Bipolar as in not unipolar under American hegemony. The Soviet Union and the United States were at each other's throats, the two great powers, arguably two superpowers of the time, and in this more unstable world at the time, Israel acquired the bomb. The idea being all these nations around me that hate my guts because I kind of landed here out of nowhere, terrorized the natives, kicked half of them out, and in fact then called the land mine because 3,000 years ago my great to the power of 50 grandpappy may have lived here. So yeah, everyone hates me. So they might try to wipe me out. So let me nuke up so they never try that again. Very foolish if they try that again. Cold War over, unipolar world established, America right at the top. Israel is Big Daddy's new bestie, which means no problem, you can keep your nukes, big man. Just don't make it, official that you have them, because then, and diplomatically, we can get over it, but diplomatically it's a bit of a, not necessary. Now, that's a very different world where Israel got its nukes compared to today. And the one trying to get nukes today, apparently, because Iran's obviously state position is we don't want nukes and we don't have nukes. But say they did want to get nukes, right? Many of you say, why can't they pursue nukes? It's their choice. No, it's their right. Oh, well, they're trying to get nukes in a very different world, and they themselves are a very different contender. Iran is not a bestie with the current world superpower. China is on its way up for sure, and Iran is closely aligned with China. But the world is exiting unipolarity and moving towards bipolarity. Right? Back when Israel tried it, the world was going the other way. It was exiting bipolarity, and the Israeli ally America had basically won. It was heading towards unipolarity. That's not the case now, right? And America was way stronger then than China is now, relative to the other countries, the other players on the world stage. Iran's trying to do it now when there's a global system specifically designed to prevent new nuclear armed states. It's like climbing the nuke ladder, then pulling up once you've got nukes. That's basically what the Western world did, and some other powers sort of snuck in, by the wayside, Pakistan, India, etc., North Korea. But here's where it gets really complicated. Western countries support Israel as a democratic ally, and see it as a stabilizing force in a chaotic region. I say democratic like that, by the way, before you accuse me of being biased. Israel calls itself a Jewish state. In its charter, it is a nation for the Jewish people. You can't be for the Jewish people and also democratic without me going like that over democracy, because your citizens are by your state's design not equal. If you're not a Jew, it's an ethno-state, right? So you can't be an ethno-state and a perfect democracy at the same time, or not a hybrid democracy at the same time. So democracy, yeah. Now, Israel is seen as a democratic ally and a stabilizing force in a chaotic region. Obviously, the region is only chaotic because the region might want to change the dynamics where they are at a disadvantage and the Western powers want to keep the dynamic where it is because they favor or they benefit from the current dynamic, so they call it chaotic if you try to break out of their system. And Israel will keep the region in line, essentially, is the idea. Now, meanwhile, Iran is viewed as the regional threat by that same Western bloc that supports Israel. They point to the fact, rather, that Iran openly calls for Israel's destruction, which it does at a state level. The US gives Israel, though, billions in military aid annually, while it sanctions Iran's economy into the ground. So the US has, shifted the whole thing. It's buffing up its ally and, nerfing its enemy. So Iran has really had everything stacked against it, diplomatically and economically. Now, there's also the elephant in the room: oil and strategic location. Iran sits on a massive amount of oil and controls key shipping routes. You probably heard, especially this last week, of the Straits of Hormuz. Now, that's a level of power, and those are levers of power that Iran's adversaries are aware of, and is geostrategic threat to them if things pop off and Iran tries to hit some sort of panic button in the region. Israel, despite being smaller, has become a crucial intelligence partner and technology hub for Western powers. The West invested basically to bring up Israel in this supposedly hostile region, making the desert bloom, as they say, and now they get to benefit from the tech and capabilities Israel itself produces and can sell back to their once, colonial mothership, as it were. By the way, this idea that Israel made the desert blue, it's easy to make the desert blue if you have billions of dollars poured into the state and have the superpower at the time subsidizing your whole existence and giving you diplomatic cover for whatever you do. Imagine giving one plant, like if you're a botanist or a farmer or a gardener, imagine giving one plant called, let's say, Botanicus Izzy, giving it the best soil, the best light, giving it plant food, fertilizer every day it needs it, giving it everything, right? Fully investing. And giving another plant, let's say that was already there, you didn't plant it, it was just there natively, let's call it the Botanicus Pali, give it nothing, not even water, just like in Ramadan, not even water. And every few years, in fact, stomping on Botanicus Patti to further weaken it, just keep it, several steps behind Botanicus Izzy. Well, that's a plant that's not going to bloom because of your actions, and the first plant is going to bloom because of your actions, and then you can praise it for blooming, I suppose. Now back to Iran. There's also the religious and the cultural factor. Many Western leaders see Israel as part of a broader Western democratic world, while Iran's theocratic republic, the theocratic government currently in power, is viewed fundamentally as opposed to Western values, whatever those are. So hostility is further heightened. All this stacked against Iran in a world largely still dominated by the West. The global south is rising, don't get me wrong, intent on grabbing their fair share of the economy, of diplomatic capacity, of prestige, of power, in essence. The global south is rising and trying to take what they feel is a reasonable proportion, right? But they aren't there yet, right? They're not at the top yet. The global south isn't at the top, and the advanced economies of the West have slid into second, third place, and they're, days gone by, and they're no longer influential. That's not the case. And so the global south states largely remain in the shadows of the well-established, though currently crumbling, world order, the unipolar world order where America sits at the top with its Western allies following in behind. That world order still stands and still casts a long shadow, even though it's crumbling in real time. The uncomfortable truth? Nuclear policy and geopolitics in general isn't about fairness or consistent application of international law. It's about who you're friends with, what threats you pose to the existing world order, Iran, if you're Iran, and whether the major powers at the time see you as an asset or a liability. If you're an asset, watch things smooth out for you. If you're a liability, watch as roadblocks magically appear. It's not about fair. It's about what can my power afford me in reality. That's what you'll get. That's what you'll get. Whatever you can afford with your power and the power of your allies, that's what you're going to get. Then you can spin up some reason for your position, like